Hi guys, so today we're going to be going through English Language Paper 2 question 5. So we all know that this is a 40 marker. So you get your first 24 marks for your content. So this is your what. So what do you use to make your point? What are your 4 main points? What language devices will you use? What structural devices will you use? What ambitious vocabulary will you use? And what tone do you write in? How are you going to create your tone? Then you get 16 marks for your organisation. So this is how you structure your point. So how will you use sentence structures? How will you use your punctuation? How will your entire piece look? You get that for your organisation. Here I have a plan for you. So spend 5 to 7 minutes planning. So this is something that I must emphasise is so important. Spend the time planning so that you know that you've got everything you need in your content and the way you organise it before you start writing. Spend about 2 minutes on your introduction. You want about 4 main body paragraphs. Spend 30 minutes writing these and 2 minutes to conclude. Here is an example of one of the questions. This is the one that we're going to tackle together. So parents today are overprotective. They should let their children take part in adventurous, even risky activities to prepare them for later life. Your task is to write an article for a broadsheet newspaper in which you argue for or against this statement. So, on the mark scheme, the first thing it says is to be compelling. What does it mean to be compelling? You're asked here to be interesting. So how can you interest your reader? Purpose. So what's the purpose of the text? Here, the purpose is to write an article and we're arguing. So our tone is going to be very informative and we are going to be able to back up what it is we have to say. Inform, obviously, is an article. Ambitious vocabulary. So you need to make sure that you spend time learning new ambitious words in order to be able to entrance your reader. So for instance, why don't you change sad to somber? Why don't you change interesting to fascinating? Or happy to jovial? Here we have your next task. You need to think about structural devices. So what structural devices can you use to interest your reader? Consider the questions earlier in the paper. What have you commented on about writers and how they've interested you with the use of structure? Can you get some repetition in there? Consider paragraph lengths. Could you possibly put in one paragraph of a few words? Pace as well. Could you give lists? Then consider language devices. So here your hyperboles, your alliteration, your metaphors, your similes. And as I said before, to speed up the pace, consider lists. What you need to remember is that within this you need to organise what it is you have to say well. So consider linking words to connect your paragraph. And here are examples of a few. However, although, moreover, furthermore, additionally, nevertheless, firstly, secondly, similarly, likewise, for instance, such as, and consequently. So I would suggest making a spider diagram and coming up with a few examples of how you would argue different points and link your points using these words. The second thing you're marked on is your AO6. So this is your organisation. As we said before, you are given 16 marks for this. So you're asked to use a variety of sentence forms. In that, consider simple and complex. So a simple sentence is one sentence that can stand alone, it's independent, it doesn't need anything for it to make sense. Whereas a complex sentence uses one or more independent clauses. Consider your punctuation. So you don't get any marks for commas and full stops and capital letters because by this stage you should definitely know how to do that. So consider colons. As I said before, to speed up your writing as a structural technique, you could use a colon to introduce a list, or you could also use it for emphasis. You could use a semicolon. You can use it to separate 2 independent clauses. An exclamation mark, this indicates that you're having strong feelings about something that you said. So if you use a hyperbolic statement and put an exclamation mark at the end, tick, tick. Question marks, it's quite obvious, I don't think I need to explain. Ellipsis, so you can use this to create suspense or to slow your reader down, to make them really consider what it is that you're trying to say. And obviously you need to write in an academic style and be aware of your spelling, your punctuation and grammar. We don't want to lose marks on this. Obviously remember that you have to write in a formal tone. Here we've got De Forest, so some more skills that we could use. So direct address, this is where the writer directly engages with the reader and brings them in. Alliteration, anecdotes, so small stories that you use in order to back up what you're saying. Facts, opinions, rhetorical questions, emotive language, statistics, and triplets. And you can use the triplets for it to be severely effective in your listing. So here's the question. Parents today are overprotective. They should let their children take part in adventurous, even risky activities to prepare them for later life. Write an article for a broadsheet newspaper in which you argue for or against this statement. As mentioned before, 24 marks for your what and 16 marks for your how. Right, so in regard to this, we are going to be arguing that parents are overprotective and that we need to allow children to experience adventurous things. And we'll go through that in the next video.